I'm the co-founder and CEO of ZettaBlock. So maybe before I started the presentation today, I'll give a quick intro of myself. So I have been doing AI for over the past 10 years. I got my PhD from machine learning and AI background in UC Berkeley. And since then, I've been building, actually starting from 2018, I was building an AutoML platform, which is pretty much considered the old era of OpenAI type of a platform before Zhang AI become really a thing over the past 3 years. But anyways, so it's very exciting to see that where AI start heading to right now, and where we can potentially unblock, unleash the potential of AI further with some blockchain-enabled technology, specifically coming from the trustlessness part. So let's start the topic. So let's talk about what is the current trend we observed in the industry right now. So as you know, probably over the past 2 years, people start realizing that even foundation model is not perfect for anything. Actually, it's not perfect for most of the thing, besides generic tasks. Whenever it's come to very domain-specific topics or tasks, people find out that you have to insert additional context or knowledge into the model. That's why there's a lot of techniques about like a RAG, vector DB. But meanwhile, people start realizing derivative model, which is the fine-tuned model from the base model, is becoming like more and more trendy and useful. So, and another thing that's very important, as probably most of people you also know, that it's very expensive to train base model, foundation model, especially those large parameter models. That's why most of the people will choose to right now build on top of what already those giant companies or organizations has provided in the market. So then imagine, I would say over probably in the next 5 to 10 years, most of the business process will be empowered by AI models or agent, more or less. So there's going to be tons of models in the society. So with such a vast AI network, with so many models, AI has to be trustless. Why? Because in order for all those AI models to collaborate, which means like the model need to be composable and interpretable, you have to make sure that AI, there's 2 main concerns or issues about the AI adoption need to be addressed before those massive collaboration and adoption start happen. One is the lack of compute integrity and accountability of the entire process. No matter it's like the data preparation process or like the modeling process. And the second is actually the lack of provenance, which is definitely a lot of topics Web3 industry are talking about, but even it start becoming a thing in mainstream Web2. So I would give 2 examples to think about that. One is about imagining in the future if a healthcare system would recruit an AI agent or model to do the medical diagnosis and recommend treatment plans to patients. So in such a high-stake scenarios, it's actually very important and critical to ensure the accuracy and trustworthiness of the AI models. So if you are using a private API, for example, provided by OpenAI 4.0, like fine-tuned model with some medical data. At the moment, there's no way to verify if the model is really the recommendation or like the output of the model is really come from the model that it's intended to use, or it's actually favor someone or some pharmaceutical companies or some specific treatment medicines in the process, which is actually, biased and not the best for the patients. So that's just one of the scenario where, a trust issue has really getting in the way of the AI adoption right now. And the second thing, as you all know, that people now start really talking about what is the data ownership and, data economy around this AI in this AI ecosystem. So many well-known models right now, such as Google Gemini, GPT-4o, they're all built on top of the extensive data from, say, Reddit and GitHub, Wikipedia, or other platforms with user-generating data. But majority of us, including almost like everybody who contributed in this process didn't really get the benefits from that. And that has not only happened to individuals like us, it's also happened to enterprise now. So that's is another interesting thing that you start seeing, like why mainstream people, mainstream Web2 AI users or AI, resource contributors start thinking about this, because that is why New York Times is kind of like having this lawsuit with OpenAI, and now Google is wanting to pay Reddit $80 million per year to access their data, because now there's a real, concerns or solutions people trying to find to conquer this trust issues. So then let's talk about, in order for AI to be trustless and really provide the or overcome those critical issues we talked about here, what is the things that has been built and people are talking about? So there's a lot of projects right now, as probably we heard, like Ritual, Oral. They are, really talking about how you can bring a verifiable AI inference in the process, which is great, by the way, but it's not good enough. Why? Because inference is already the last step of this AI process. It's when the model is already been built, everything has been done. Now you're saying among the 3 models, I guarantee that I'm using the model 1 for your use case. However, the model, entire building process actually start from data collection, data preparation, model training, which in most of the case, I would imagine in the future is not the case for people anymore, because everybody will build on top of, the base model. So fine tuning will actually be the stage, or will be the starting point where the trustlessness will need to really be guaranteed from that stage. So that's why, as you can see, that right now ZettaBlock is actually solving this piece. And by the way, another thing I have to emphasize here is, in order for AI to work, there really need to have very good, solid foundation data piece, or a data infrastructure piece. Because everybody know, probably who have done AI or machine learning before, garbage in, garbage out. Without good data, there's no great AI. So that's why another thing I want to point it out here is, in order for AI to work, we need a really good data infrastructure. And at the moment, the data infrastructure is not good enough. Mainly due to a few challenges. There's so many challenges in the process, but yeah, so the format is a little bit messed up. But basically, in order to consider one, for Gen AI or a future AI to be really working, you have to handle all kinds of data. No matter it's structured data, actually blockchain data, on-chain transactions are all structured kind of like a metadata transaction. But besides that, beyond that, there are so many image data, text data, video data, all kinds of unstructured multimodality data need to be handled. And also, like we talked about, the very important thing, again, now everybody start talking about, even some of the biggest enterprise customers we're working with, or start talking about is data provenance and governance in the process. How you can guarantee that actually data is processed correctly, and also your data ownership is preserved in the process when you do AI. And of course, the last thing is, everybody know data infrastructure is a pain in the ass. It's probably one of the biggest heavy lifting components in this entire AI landscape or life cycle. So that's why very solid data infrastructure is also very important for the downstream model fine tuning, inference, and all the model piece in this AI life cycle. So this is just a recap to show you what is the typical flow of the fine-tuning model to be used, a build on top of the base model with data with additional context inside. So here we go is about what is the solution we're proposing here to really bring this trustless AI together into the real life and empowering both the enterprise and the communities. So one is actually in this network, we believe that there's three very important modules need to be built in. One is the data module. That is where we are talking about data infrastructure need to be robust and to prepare the data ready in an AI ready format for model fine-tuning and inference. And the model module is apparently we talked about, where the model, like a model building process need to be happened, and like have the verification and provenance guaranteed through actually the blockchain module. So to us, the beauty of blockchain in this piece is really bringing you one of the best solution, what you can do to provide the verifiability and the provenance. So there's a lot of other pieces that you can use non-blockchain solutions to solve, but these two pieces, actually blockchain, I would say, one of the best solutions where you can bring into the AI lifecycle and to empower trustless AI. So this is just to show you, like, in order to build the data infrastructure that's empowering like the AI process, we have built, like a unified stack. Consider, if you are familiar with the data piece, then it's like a Databricks, but with open data economy. And by the way, a little bit, context, fun fact here is actually, since I started my career as an AI researcher, I found that in the first startup that I was building, which is the AutoML platform, data, again, is actually the hardest piece. Because imagine it's AutoML, right? Just like when you use GPT-4o right now, is like call the API and then it will return some result to you. So you don't need to do really too much. So the data piece is actually a lot and much heavier. So that's why I actually, after that company, I exited and I joined the Databricks to lead the product management there, to build the data engineering infrastructure. But anyways, so this is the first piece we built out. And then this is actually the, a phase 2 of the platform and the network that now we're actively building and, launching, hopefully launching the DevNet and testnet later this year. So this is actually what we call like the AI coprocessor, where we enable AI developers to have a native way, like a very AI native way, to do whatever they're doing in Web 2, right? No matter you're using, let's say, like a Anyscale or like a Databricks type of solution, you do that the same way here. However, what's the difference here is actually underlying, it's actually gated by smart contract and blockchain for, the data and model provenance and access. So in that case, what is the benefits here is, one, we're not sacrificing the AI developer's experience. Because this is our vision, right? Like AI for blockchain or AI for Web3 is great. But if we can do something with a blockchain for AI, it's even greater. So in order to do that, we need to make sure that we're using the same level or like similar experience and technology that those real AI developers are familiar with. That's why we're building a platform or module that is what they're used to. And yeah, so that's the second piece. And this is where we consider that AI ecosystem should be built in the future. That is really enabling all the AI stakeholders in the process, from like the data provider, model builder, compute provider, and also like the model user, which means is like the apps and agents, and even like no matter is like a consumer-facing or enterprise-facing use cases can be really empowered by this ecosystem. So there's a lot of more details. If you're interested, we can talk later on. But some of the use cases, we imagine that with such a big or scalable and open AI ecosystem, there's so many use cases we can empower in the future across both Web 2 and Web 3. Again, Web 3 side is very typical as what you see that's people doing Web 2, right? Like a DeFi, all the use cases you see here is no difference than TradFi, how they use AI for some of their particular use cases, and security compliance, user experience, they're all the same. But the interesting part is actually the Web 2 piece. So now, as you can see, that a lot of companies, some of the most popular projects in Web 2 about AI is probably like Hugging Face, like a character AI, and for data science people, probably Kaggle. So they're great, and they have so many tons of like useful content and like data set models on top of that. But there's actually no good way for those people to monetize or build economy around those content they have, right? So that is where we consider it's going to be very interesting how you can use blockchain or like decentralize the platform to empower this piece. And the second, third piece is the provenance and provenance guarantee and the governance piece. Right? So actually a lot of enterprise people we talk to, they're very interesting to see potentially in the future how, like a blockchain that empowered solution can, one, help them to do better auditability, and second, the deepfake combat. So I had a chance to talk to the founder of one of the largest foundation models company 2 weeks ago, and we were just chatting about how we can really detect and combat this deepfake in the future. And actually this guy, which is a pure Web2 person, is would say the same thing, that potentially in the future, blockchain probably is the best solution here to really help identify or separate the human-generated content and the machine-generated content. So that's all the type of interesting use cases we can observe or talk about how potentially can be empowered by this network and by us. And here is just to give you some context about what we have been worked and collaborate with people so far. So actually we have been used by a lot of top enterprise customers, such as Eigen, Chainlink, and also a bunch of other people. And in our ecosystem right now, we actually have over 200,000 data sets being built on top of us, and a lot more AI use cases has been adopted and put in production use case in production environment by our customer. So, well, that's just a quick show of case study, but that's pretty much is.